Indeed, we are here. Welcome to Amityville Horror. Thank you for visiting. Jesus Christ, I can't
Slow it
talk right
down,
now.
slow it down,
Yeah,
baby.
how about it? So I'm not going to do that again, but I will say I am here with Don. And we've got a special guest today. We have brought in Rebecca Rinehart today.
Woo!
How are you?
I am okay. I am ready to talk about blood and guts and horror and whatever and tall boy beers.
And she, I was saying, and she flashed the Modelo as she's like, and I'm ready to do this.
I'm so ready.
There was something that we said off mic right before we started this, and I wanted to bring that up real quick just because I find it really funny that you work as a, what'd you say?
Network administrator.
Network administrator. Yes. Don is a senior IT tech. And as far as I know, you guys are both into like camp slasher flicks and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder if you're like cut from the same cloth or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain. I would just be like, that's even better. Even better.
Yep.
One more thing we have in common, drinking tall boys and liking camp slashers. Come on now.
Yeah, and you're even drinking, you were drinking the Mick Ultra, right?
I got the Bud Light lime.
Oh, it's lime. Okay, so it looked like the Mick Ultra lime, which I was like,
I'm a girl. I'm a girl. I like the Bud Light orange and lime and stuff. So it is what it is.
So I may not even need to be here, but I am here. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Yeah, you can mute me.
Yeah,
if you
mute
want.
you. Fuck it. We're just going to, yeah, me and Rebecca got this. Nah, go ahead, brother. Do your thing.
Yeah. So normally when we do these guest appearances, I like to gush for a minute and tell the guest how much I really enjoy their work and what I like about them and their contribution to the industry. But this time is no different. I mean, I am super glad
I was about to get in the car and whoop your ass and be like, what? Like, we're changing it because it's her? I'm like, she's a staple in indie horror.
Yeah. I'm a staple.
You are a staple.
You are becoming, you already are a household name in the indie horror film industry. I mean, there's very few people that are into that scene who don't know who you are.
100%.
And I can see why. I mean, it's just everybody, who gets into that community kind of travels in the same circles and ends up getting opportunities to work together and working on wonderful projects, which there is no shortage of.
No. I like to say it's a shallow gene pool. We're very incestuous in the indie horror community.
Wow, you made it sound so bad.
Don't edit that either.
It's staying in.
It is. No, like, I mean, if you don't know somebody, if you haven't worked with someone, you're like, somebody that's worked with somebody, and it's like crazy. You can't like talk about anything or anybody without somebody knowing. I mean, it's like middle school, really. But
right. So that's a cool thing too, because like Julianne Prescott's one of the ones that I follow her, and she's amazing. She was amazing in this. She was amazing in 5G Zombies when we watched her. I mean, so she's one that I've noticed is kind of stuck beside you. For a couple movies. So she's a great person too.
Yeah, I've done quite a few things with Julie, so she's awesome.
Yeah, I think when I was watching Fright Vision, I saw she was in that. That was cool too.
Yeah.
And Shriek Show right behind me.
Woo,
right. Nelly.
Yeah, she was my hot girlfriend.
Did not expect that. I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm like,
and let us not forget,
my fucking curtains are all the way up, and Rebecca walks up, boom. Julie's like, I'm like, what? I'm like, these motherfuckers that are outside, they just got like, I know Plex is free, but they just got a show in my house.
So
it was great.
Yeah, and let us not forget the Embalmers. She had a pretty significant role in that.
100%.
So I think you are extra endearing to us because you're a podcaster.
Yes.
And you've got what, 3 shows now?
Or
sort of.
You retired one, didn't you?
I've got that's actually how I started, how I got into all of this. I have extreme social anxiety, and about 4 years ago, like, I got rid of my baggage, known as a husband.
Yep.
changed my life.
Congratulations.
Yep, congratulations.
Right. I instantly like got all my stuff out of boxes that I had like collected
And hung
over
that
the
shit
years
up.
and hung that shit on the wall. Exactly. And I started getting involved in like some horror groups, and I was, you know, kind of well received, and started a podcast with a couple of my friends in the Micah Madness, which we're still there. We're just kind of on hiatus. We've had a lot of changes and whatnot, but I started that one, and I've been on a million podcasts, but there's that one. And then we have another one that got started probably about a year and a half ago called SOBs Who Love SOV, which we are a little on hiatus because one of our cast members he's got a baby now. And then the other, Tony Masiello, he's super busy. So, but we did win the Joe Bob Briggs Silver Bolo Award.
Holy fucking shit.
Yes, we did, for sovhorror.com. So as for you who don't know, SOV is shot on video. It's another one of my geekdoms. And so sovhorror.com is where you can get new and old SOV movies. We've got podcasts, we've got reviews, all kinds of stuff.
I love Joe Bob. Joe Bob was one of my like favorite people. I'm trying to get him on our podcast, and when we do, we're like over the hump of you know, your small city D level podcast. If I can get Joe Bob on, but there again, we got you on here, so we just amped up.
We're
the
already
grade.
climbing.
We were at the B grade now, so we were at D grade before you came on. Now we're at B grade. So
woo woo! I'm really elevating things here. That's
fuck yeah,
sad,
you are.
guys. I'm sorry.
1000%.
Well, you're definitely not taking anything away from it.
No.
Well, okay. So right now, the ones that I do regularly, I do an 80s horror podcast with Jonathan Moody. My big one that I do is Slumber Party Massacre podcast. It's all girls. We all were the token chick on our podcasts. And so we got together and decided to form our own girl band because we were sick of being the chick. We were like, well, why can't we be all chicks?
Yeah.
So it's super fun. It's been really well received, and it's a lot of work, but that's pretty much my favorite thing to do right now.
And you had the not quite the final girl, but that ended, right?
Well, that's my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Right.
And I did a series. That was how I started. I did a series of not quite final girl videos where I would do some cosplay, and so how that all came about was I watch these slashers and I will watch them over and over and over, and to the point where I can just recite them. But like I found that like I had like backstories for all these like random throwaway characters. And I was like, everybody talks about the final girl, right? Because she's the one who gets fleshed out and you know some things about her. But like the other people, you don't really know much about them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to shine a light on the girls who don't make it to final girl status. And then I would do a deep dive into the actresses that played them and kind of what I thought the character was really doing and their backstory. Those took a lot of work. So I did about 12 or 13 of those. If I did 13, that was applicable. But I do a lot of interviews, and I do now the one thing that everybody wants to watch is drunken commentaries.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So I watch a movie. So that all happened because one night I was just like, I want to watch Sleepaway Camp. I'm drunk. Somebody watch it with me. And no one wanted to FaceTime watch it with me. Like no one. And I was like, fine.
Wait.
That's because you didn't ask us.
So I know Sleepaway Camp is close to your heart. At least you said Sleepaway Camp 2 was this the first one or the second one you were watching?
Second one, which is my one of my favorite movies of all time. So then I did this drunken commentary, and then everybody's like, "Oh, I want to do a drunken commentary with you." And I'm like, "Well, fuck you. Where were you Saturday night when I was trying to find somebody to watch a movie with me?"
Exactly.
Whatever. But it ended up being fun because I'm a wealth of knowledge of stupid trivia. And again, I have theories about every stupid character in these movies. And so it's turned out to be fun. And I actually have branched out. Sometimes my friends are on the show now.
That's awesome. Well, I know.
That's cool.
I know the poster I have right here. That's your top is Friday the 13th. I know that's your
two.
part.
I don't know why I'm a part
that's-
2 girl.
No, part 2 is great. Part 2 is great. Fucking love Amy Steele. I mean, now if there was any final girl that was upper echelon, that's one of them.
She's my final girl. But yeah,
Yes.
those 2 movies actually are the ones that I cite as my top two favorite movies of all time. They kind of toggle between first and second.
They're great. They're both great.
So I just cheat and say both of them.
Yeah, right. There you go. It's like having two best friends.
Yeah.
It can happen. We were just talking about Friday the 13th last night, how we are not very big fans of part 3, even though that's when Jason gets his mask. But it was just kind of like none of the characters. I didn't like any of the characters, and we kind of came to the conclusion that I like part 5 more than part 3, which most people would crucify me for saying that.
A lot of people don't like part 5.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, but I think a lot of people have come around. Like Halloween 3 and Friday the 13th part 5 were
What
like
I tell you, Clint?
They were the two like redheaded children, and I don't really know why. Like, I mean, I can get it. Okay, so I guess I'll get on my first soapbox. So okay,
Yeah, get on that soapbox.
let's say I'm 21 years old. Halloween 3 comes out, you know, and my friends and I, we're going to go see the Michael Myers movie. Oh yeah. I loved 1 and 2. Yeah. Whatever. We go to the theater and go,
where the fuck was Michael Myers at?
What the fuck is this? Right. Exactly. Okay. Now, if that were your situation, I could see why you were like, fuck that movie. Sorry, I have a potty mouth.
Oh, please let it go. Please, baby. Let it go.
I always say I cuss like a sailor and have the sense of humor of an 11-year-old voice. So just watch out, guys.
Oh, you're a good company.
You watched Holy Shit, man. You know it.
You are in great company.
So I can see that. Same thing with Friday part 5. If like, you know, I just seen 4 and now the next one's coming out. And then at the end, I don't get that one.
Holy shit. You know what?
I don't really care.
We're not even talking about her movies yet, which is bothering me, but she brings up a really good point that those two major franchises did have a red herring right there. They did have that. Jason wasn't in the 5th one. Halloween 3, Michael Myers was in it. Freddy never had that. Freddy never was not in A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, but he had some shitty movies.
Oh fucking terrible movies.
But like, who cares? Like part 5, who cares if it's Jason or not? It's like, it's people are getting slaughtered by a dude in a hockey mask. I'm fine with that. And so when I watched these movies, I never like internalized either one of those things because I was much, you know, I was young when they came out. So I watched them kind of all together. Like I started watching Friday the 13th when part 4 was getting ready to come out. So I watched like 1, 2, 3. You know, and then like, so I saw 5 when it was fairly new, and I didn't think about it as like the imposter Jason or anything like that. I was just
we were just talking about that too. We said the same thing. We were like, it's still somebody in a hockey mask. And when you look, when the flashbacks come up, it's still Jason. So it's not like Jason wasn't in the movie. If you want to pick a movie where Jason wasn't in it, fucking go over to Jason Goes to Hell. Cause that's the movie that doesn't have Jason.
Which I love that movie, but
good
yes,
movie.
For anybody who wants to complain, when you see the blue chevrons on the hockey mask, that's Roy, the ambulance driver. Yes. When you see red,
that's Jason.
That's Jason. So yes, Jason is in it, and Jason is in. And I have this whole theory that like those two are like the bookends, because that part 5 is anybody can be Jason, right?
Yeah.
And then Jason Goes to Hell is Jason can be anybody.
Yes.
So I think it's a good full circle kind of thing.
Holy shit.
Trademark, copyright.
Bring it on the show. Bring it. Man, she just blew my fucking mind because she is totally right. She really is.
Hey, I talk about this shit all the time.
But you still hate part 8, don't you?
No, I like Jason Takes Manhattan. I love it. I filmed in Manhattan. I had never been to Manhattan. I'm from Indiana. I'm like, you know, total like Midwestern girl. I had never been to Manhattan. And so I filmed in Manhattan and had a full day, like in Times Square. Like, I mean, like I could be the total tourist. And like, my goal was to go to all the little chintzy, like trinket stands that are everywhere. Cause I wanted to find a pendant for my boyfriend that was like the one that Rennie got.
Oh shit, the Statue of Liberty.
I found like bling, keychains, all kinds of stuff, but nothing as magnificent as that. And like,
that's so funny.
Yeah.
How disappointing.
No shit. Like you think that would be just everywhere.
No kidding. Like that, I mean, isn't that an icon? No, the only Friday the 13th or only Jason movie that I absolutely fucking
Jason X. I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Yes, Jason X.
You loved your words, not mine. You loved Uber Jason, but he got stuck in a shitty movie.
Yes, exactly. And you did your homework, man.
Look at my shirt. Look at my shirt.
Well, and here's the thing too, like it's become so like infamous in some of my like circles that I've had people like make posters where I'm in Jason X.
Would have been a better movie.
My friend Maddie Deering, I had never met Maddie before. She's one of my podcast co-hosts, known her forever.
Are you serious?
We've never met in person. Yeah,
I love her.
You SOBs who love SOV.
Bathtub Shark Attack.
Yep. So we were at Cinema Wasteland together. I worked her table, and they showed Holy Shit Man and Carousel the Second there. But she goes, I have a present for you, Rebecca. And I thought, oh, this is sweet, you know, she's like being so genuine about it. She pulls out this Jason X poster and just starts dying laughing. I'm like, you bitch. He's like, you can burn it if you want. She's wanted at some, I don't know, some bingo thing.
Oh my God.
You're like, nope, it's going up.
Like, nope, we're burning it right here. In the middle
it's over here somewhere. It'll probably go, but it's actually a cool poster. It's like one of those comic book kind of send ups.
Like almost like it's one of those like custom deals almost. It's not like that normal one with
yeah, it's not like the theatrical poster. It's like a comic book cover type thing. But
okay, so let's end this debate.
Okay.
Oh.
You like Jason Goes to Hell more than you like Jason X?
Oh, fuck yes.
Okay, just make sure. All right. So now that we have our Friday the 13th lesson out of the way,
all right,
let's talk about something different. Let's talk about your shit, because we can keep going on this all night. So you have been around and around and around with a lot of directors. You know, you were in you've dealt with Tim Ritter, Steve Rosinski. I mean, you've dealt with a lot of people. And what would you say was Ron Bank? He wasn't a director of Sharks of the Corn, right? That was Tim Ritter.
No, Ron Bank was he's a producer for that. So, which I've always been a huge fan of SRS cinema. So there's a lot of bucket list kind of stuff that I've done. So I told you I love shot on video. So when I was a kid, that's what I would rent. And no matter what budget a movie was, like, I didn't care. I just looked at the cover and looked at the back and like, yeah, it looks pretty good. I get it.
She acts like I don't know this. She acts like I haven't done my homework.
But our people listening may not know this.
But they know you now. They know you now. They don't. Your words. I love this client because I've done my homework on her. You couldn't tell the difference with a $10,000 budget and a $10 million budget.
Right. Like I always the ones that even still today that I like are the ones that were lower budget. And it was the Tim Ritter and the Todd Sheets and the Donald Farmer movies, that type of stuff, the Polonia brothers. So the first like bucket list director that I got to work with, and I didn't even get to work with him to start out with, was Tim Ritter. He lives in Kentucky. He lives maybe about 4 hours from me, and I wanted to interview him for my podcast. And he's like, yeah, come down, you can hang out, we're filming some stuff, next thing I know, I'm going to Cracker Barrel with Tim Ritter. I'm like, 14-year-old me is like, no,
country fried steak.
So it just kind of snowballed from there. It's like, so then, Donald Farmer's like, oh, hey, she's cool. She can come do, like we did this convention that he ran. And then he's like, hey, you want to come do a movie with me and blah, 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 and it's just, it kind of is all snowballed. So I've worked with like a lot of my bucket list people who are people that some people had never heard of, like, like the Polonia, like Mark Polonia, like that was a big thing. But like Ron Bank was one that when I watched She Kills, which he did direct, that was when I was first learning that independent film directors, actors, or whatever, are normal people and that they want to talk about their stuff. So I'm watching this movie and it is bonkers. If you've not seen it, I love this fucking movie. And I'm like, I'm going to see if I can find him on Instagram. And so I like find Ron Bank on Instagram, and I'm sitting there messaging him during the movie, like going, oh my God, like, so blah, 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 asking him questions. And it was then that I realized, hey, I can kind of do this stuff, like, so It's just all kind of, I don't know, snowballed, I guess.
That's how we do it. That's actually, sorry, I have my notes.
I just need to shut up and let you ask questions.
No. I love this.
No.
This is
the good stuff.
We
this
have,
is what
honest
we
to
want.
God,
you
we've
keep
had
cutting her off, Don. Why you keep doing that?
I didn't say shit. She's fine.
Oh,
there goes
notes go across the room.
We're done. We're done.
Gloves
Fuck my
are
notes.
off.
We're done.
Here we go. Pick that shit up. Get over here.
That one too fucking far. I ain't going to pick it up. No, I mean, and that's the thing about, like the indie horror is that, and that's something like when we do our podcast, we really kind of emphasize that, you guys don't have any, backing for these big studios. Like nobody's giving you $10 million to make a fucking movie. And, even if they did, I think, I don't even think it would. I think it would just be so fake that it wouldn't even be indie at that point. Even though you'd still be the whole indie aspect of it. I just don't like, I don't like the thought of these big budget horror movies, because me and Clint have talked about it numerous times. I've seen, again, Jason X. I'm sorry to say that's a prime example. That's New Line Cinema. That's a big deal. That's the house that Freddie built.
Although it feels like the Sci-Fi Channel.
Exactly. And that was probably like fucking $20 million budget, probably more than that. And that movie sucks balls. But then you turn around and you watch something like Shriek Show or Sister Krampus or Carousel 2. And it's like, why wasn't that in theaters? Why didn't that hit theaters? Because that was better than half the shit I've seen where I went and sat in the theaters.
Yeah, it's a niche thing, because there are also people like the people at work who know what I do. Like my line is, I'm a really big thing in some really small circles.
I wouldn't argue that.
I'm like, I walk in some places and people want my autograph. Like, I know you don't believe that, but like, and then
I
would ask.
I'm gonna go get my notes because I do need.
Yes, go get your notes.
Yeah,
I want to get serious for a second.
And they just make fun of like Sharks of the Corn. Okay, hey, I'm on Amazon Prime. What have you done?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that too, because that was something I was going to bring up. Have you been to any cons or anything? Have you, like, where you're at a panel or you're signing autographs?
Yeah. So
you said Cinema Wasteland, right?
Cinema Wasteland. Yeah. So that was last month. So yeah, I was there with Steve Brzezinski and Aileen Isley, and we showed Carousel the Second, and I also showed Holy Shit Man. I was like, this is about as famous as I'm ever going to be. I've got 2 movies playing primetime Saturday night at a film festival. I better go.
I love it.
And then also I did Horror Hound Cincinnati a few weeks before that.
Yeah.
And I did filmmaker panels, which was kind of surreal because people were listening to me about filmmaking. And just like I was sitting there 3 years ago, listening to people talk about filmmaking and try to soak everything in.
Right.
So it's been a fairly short amount of time.
Well, your directorial debut was a segment on Fright Vision, right?
Well,
kind of, sort of, maybe
chronologically, The Embalmers is definitely my first foray into directing. Because that's the way that I do things. I say, you know what? I want to direct a movie. Why don't I make a feature film? I've never done this before, but what the hell? Why not? I mean, because that's just kind of who I am. Like, I want to do something and I do it. I'm not one of these people who has an idea and tries to pitch it to 50 people everywhere. They go, well, somebody would just give me money.
Yeah, it's like, just fucking do it. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of the Embalmers, I'd like to spend a couple minutes on that, if you don't mind. So you and your sister came up with that idea?
So what happened with the Embalmers is I had been doing a lot of like promoting movies, just like on my own and with my podcast and with my channel. And people started to take notice, like, oh, hey, people kind of listen to you. So I started to get like paid to like produce and promote. And So then I was asked to produce a movie, like on my own, like 100%. And I was like, well, my sister was getting really like, she was starting to get interested in all that. And I was like, well, can my sister kind of help and whatever. And we had a huge falling out with the director of that.
Oh.
But we had gone through, script rewrites. We had gone through casting. We had gone through fundraising. And I had actual experience in all of those things at that point in time. And I'm like, so when that happened, she had the idea of the embalmers. It was just, she was like, there's these like supernatural, like at first it was supposed to be 3 sisters, these supernatural sisters who can seal your soul into your body if they choose to, based on, if you've done bad shit. And she was like kind of into, sort of like the pagan stuff and voodoo and all that. And she's like, that was her thing. But she didn't, we kind of spitballed some ideas. But then when that happened and that fell out, I was like, fuck it, let's just make that movie.
Yeah, it was
why
awesome.
not?
It was great.
So
I liked it.
The story is all her. This is what I like to say. This wasn't my story to tell. But yeah, so I mean, we just said, okay, screw it. We already had cast a movie. We had Alice. Yep. We had Rob Mello. So Alice Winkler. We had Rob Mello. We had Julianne Prescott already. We had already potentially lined up Andrea Collins. Like, fuck it, we got a cast. We got an idea. And then we actually could write the characters around the people because all we had was an idea. We didn't actually have a story. So it was just a really cool organic kind of thing. And then we started fundraising on March 13th, 2020. And the first few days, I think we made like $5,000 in like 2 days. It was amazing.
Wow.
That's awesome.
March 15th, for those of you who don't remember, March 16th. That was the day the world shut down.
Yeah.
And everybody lost their jobs. And
let me guess, all that was like, can I get a refund on that?
No, I didn't have a lot of people ask for refunds, but definitely traffic slowed down because there were a lot of people who were like, dude, I don't know if our restaurant is going to close, if we're going to, like I want to give you money, but I can't.
Right.
So we had to get creative, and it was like pulling teeth. We had banked on like $25,000 because that's kind of like what we were seeing. That's, I had been involved in projects that were easily getting that. And then everything just changed. So we had to struggle to get, I think we maybe ended up with about 14,000, and I put in another 6 of my own. So yeah, we ended up around 20,000 on that. So it didn't quite go the way we wanted, and we shot during the pandemic.
Yeah, during COVID.
So we shot during pandemic. Nobody got sick. We had to take a lot of extra precautions. That cost us extra money. It was, it isn't the greatest movie in the world. I don't totally put it down, but it isn't, it is not the greatest movie in the world. But the thing is, you know what, God damn it, we made a movie during a pandemic with just people who, it was a lot of people who had done very little. Most of us, like Julie, had done a ton of stuff, right? But like most of us had not done much of anything.
Julie's incredible. She really is. And you bringing that up, like 5G Zombies, like seeing her in that, and then like you bringing up the pandemic, like seeing that where there was nothing, there was no special effects, no nothing. It was when Julie was on there, she was looking out in the nothing and be like, well, oh my God, don't come near my house, oh my God. Remember, Clint, we were both saying that, like there's nothing there. She's such a good actress, and I love the fact that you work with her so much because you're both fucking amazing.
But but we had some actors who had experience, but most of our crew, we were a bunch of just dipshits from Indiana and Illinois who didn't know what we were doing. Now, since then, most of us have gone on to do a lot more stuff. And a lot of people are coming back for my next movie and are coming back with a much heftier resume, myself included. So
please tell me that's Tin Roof.
Tin Roof, yes.
Yeah. I want to talk about that too. But I do want to continue a little bit more with the embalmers, just because I don't want to glaze over it. There's so many good things to talk about with this thing. And your involvement was huge. I mean, you did a little bit of almost everything.
Oh,
I mean,
no. Let's see. I was the director,
yeah,
producer. I was co-writer. I did casting, sanitation. There was one day where I had to take about 20 trash bags down to the garage in the basement.
Script supervisor.
Yes. Actually, there's one like little infamous clip where I couldn't find my PAs. There were like none of them were around, and we were in the morgue, and we needed a stunt body in a body bag. So I'm like, all right, here we go. I've got the slate. I've got the script.
All right.
I'm
So either way, it's like
bag.
7-8 fucking things. You are a pivotal part of the fucking movie.
And we're not finished.
And we're not even done. Yeah, we're not even done.
I mean, I was the one getting up at 5 a.m. to go get water because everybody was like taking one sip of water out of their water bottle. And like, it's like, we're in a pandemic, people. You can't just leave your water bottle sitting around, Like I was the mother and a little bit of everything. So yeah, it was definitely a very skeleton crew. And I mean, I feel like I was the one who had the most stake for it.
Sure. And you ran the campaign for raising funds for it. And when all that was finished, you sent all the stuff out to the backers. I mean,
which sounds so basic, but in this day and age,
oh my God, it's not.
I'm sure that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
hundreds of things in your living room, probably.
Oh well, not even that.
Out,
no, don't get me started on that. But I just mean the fact that people donate to these movies and don't know if they're going to even get a movie, let alone the poster that they wanted.
Right.
And it's just so insane that that's even an expectation. Like, I mean, I may not give you the greatest movie in the world, but you know what? God damn it. If you give me money and I tell you I'm going to give you something, I'm going to give you something. Like, I'm not going to be one of those douchebags or one of those people. I think what happens with a lot of those people in indie film is they have an idea, they have a camera, and they're like, oh, Indiegogo. So then they like start a campaign, they start getting money, and then they realize, oh, wait, I have to plan menus. I have to book flights. I have to find places for people to stay. I have to draw up contracts. I have to pay people. Then they're like, oh, what? Then they realize it's not just like, hey, I got an idea and a camera, I'm going to make a movie. Like, no, it's not. It's a business. It's a business. And it takes a lot of organization and a lot of hard work. And there are a lot of people who kind of fail at that, and they just kind of stop. Like, when they realize somebody else isn't going to do it for them.
Right.
Yeah. You're right on that. And it's really sad because, after, since we've started this podcast, it's been 3 months since we've started. We've gotten really in depth. We've gotten kind of, in the footprint of the whole indie aspect of things. And it's horrific. A lot of this is just, it's a horror story in itself because, you hear these awful things about what these people are doing with these Indiegogos and these crowdfunders and all this. And it's like, this is people's money that you're playing with. And, when you find out that something like that happens, it tarnishes the name. And, it just really sucks because there's people like you, and there's a lot of other directors directors, writers, producers, actors that have, come on board with what we're doing because we're trying to get that out there. We're trying to make these guys, just noticeable. And it really sucks because you guys come up with these great ideas, these amazing movies. And like you said, they may not come out, which that just blows my mind because it's just so the ideas are just better than what other people come up with, in Hollywood. And it's like, man, just get behind them and just make this happen.
Yeah. But again, you really have to have a strong captain. And I mean, that was one of my, I'm not going to say like the name of the person or the name of the movie or anything, but that was one of my early kind of, I don't know, lessons, I guess you could say. I was involved in a movie that was pretty high profile, a lot of people involved. We worked really hard as a group to raise money. We raised an incredible amount of money in an incredibly short amount of time. And then a little something went wrong, and the director went into hiding for like 3 days. None of us heard from him. And then he just said, I'm not doing it. He started refunding money. I mean, at least he refunded money.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
But that was when I was like, I'm going to be careful about who I get involved with, what projects I put my name on. But like, because I mean, I was out there heavily promoting this movie that I was just in. And I wasn't, I had no stakes in it. Like I wasn't a director or even a producer or anything. Right. But I mean, I did. Hey, I met my effects person through this debacle. So Joe Castro is my effects person.
Oh my God. Fucking legendary.
Because we bonded because we were both part of that debacle. So, things, you make friends. So, I became really good friends with Samantha Marie. And her husband's going to be my cinematographer. So, and I did a cameo in her movie. So again, shallow gene pool. You just got to know which pool to wade in. That's the thing.
Right. You got to know which one to piss in, and you got to know which one to jump into.
So let me give you a couple more thoughts on it. Just my thoughts on the embalmers, and I want to end it with a question, and then I swear I'll move on to something else.
I don't care.
Okay,
I'm here.
Well, I really appreciate what you did with the embalmers. I mean, for a first film that was self-produced, I mean, I think you did an amazing job.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You had visual effects in this thing. You had sound effects. You had a soundtrack. You had good actors. I mean, your story had layers to it. You took the time to develop your characters. I mean, creatively, like through the story. You didn't just do it, with a little like. I don't even know what to say. You didn't throw up like a card at the beginning to like explain all this stuff about your characters. Like you did it through dialogue and through like just the progression of the movie, and it took time, and that's, to me, that's really good storytelling, and I like that, and I don't really feel that there was much that this movie suffered from, So I mean, I definitely will not put this down, and I will recommend other people to see it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I tend to put it down because by the way, editor, that's the other thing that
exactly. Which is why I said all those things. You were responsible for that.
Right. And as I'm sitting there editing, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't get another take of that. Oh my God, I can't believe the lighting's so bad in this, all the stuff. And so that's where I'm kind of turning around. Like I'm directing this next movie as an editor. Because of that. So I mean, I learned a lot. I don't think it's like terrible or anything, and I'm proud of it. I'm not shopping it out to film festivals and stuff because it is what it is. It's my first movie, and there it is. But anyway,
you should. So I mean, I don't see the reason why you shouldn't. I don't.
So what were
there are some, we'll talk about it off air.
Sure. Oh, I love that. So what were your biggest takeaways from that experience that you feel were the biggest things that you learned that you're going to transition into your new project?
Look at me stealing your thunder. I'm already answering your question before you asked.
She was like, bang. She's like, off air. Fuck it, we'll answer it. She just said,
you're trained to think a certain way, you podcasters. I'm telling you.
That's what's bad. She's got us beat with the podcasting thing.
So here are my takeaways for anybody who's interested in doing movies. These were my major takeaways. And one is, and these are things that I talked about in these filmmaker panels at Horror Hound, because I thought they were really relevant. One is, don't assume that having more people is going to make your life easier, because it's just like any other, like your retail job. It's just like kindergarten. It's like anything. You get a bunch of people together you've got a couple people who know what they're doing, and you've got a bunch of people who are standing around waiting for you to tell them what to do. You become a babysitter. Warm bodies are not good to have on set. And so like with Tin Roof, that's the main thing. I barely knew Jocelyn Eckert. I had met her at a couple conventions. She was really good friends with Alice. They went to high school together. So I hired her as a PA. And I tell you what, that girl, she is my key PA on Tin Roof. She's bringing other people that she vouches for, and I trust her 100% because that girl was like there all the time. And she, you know, she knew what she was doing. Whenever it was just me, my DP, my sound guy, and Jocelyn, I could tell in editing that it was just that 4-man crew because we were tight. We had it slated. Our sound was good. You know, we had very few takes. Everything just went. But when you've got a bunch of people just kind of standing around yip yapping, or people who don't know what they're doing, or people who are like, what outfit am I supposed to wear? Like, it's all mapped out. I gave you the instructions. Like, when you have people who don't know what the hell they're doing and you have to tell them what to do, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So get very few quality people and you're better off. The editing thing is, I mean, I'd edited YouTube videos and you know, stuff like that. But it had all been me. Like, right. I didn't have to contend with the air conditioning unit in our morgue that we couldn't turn off because it's AC is like the killer of sound.
I feel like she's trying to tell me something because I have my AC on. Like, should I kill that motherfucker?
No. We tried to turn it off because the AC unit was in the garage where we were filming. We tried to turn it off and it was like 90 degrees outside. So we turned it up to like cool to like 85 or something, you know, just so it wouldn't kick on. And then when we tried to get it to go back, because the house is like infernal, we couldn't get it to go back. We're like turning off the furnace, turning it back on, flipping breakers. We couldn't get it to come back on. And so finally, once we got it to come back on, we were like, we're not touching the HVAC again. You know, so we do have some sound problems that are mostly due to that. So that's one big thing is sound is so critical because people will watch a shitty movie. They will not listen to a shitty movie.
Correct.
Sound is critical. You can have blurry shots and everything else, but if they can't understand what you're saying, they don't want to watch it. So sound is my critical thing. And that's again comes from the editing. We were in really tight quarters, so I wasn't always able to be behind the camera 100% of the time. Not doing that again. I'm going to be behind the camera all the time, and not in a body bag while we're filming. So those are probably my biggest things. And don't like there's a fine line. Like I purposely like took every job that was thrown my way so that I could get on as many sets as I could and see how as many people as I could how they did things, you know. And I was, you know, all the way from like, you know, 2 people with 1 camera to like, you know, bigger sets. So, I mean, the biggest thing is just take care of your people. Just make sure that everybody has a place to pee, has something to drink, something to eat, and has some clear expectations, and that you have some lackeys. A couple lackeys are good too.
Right. Absolutely.
To wrangle them. But if you just make sure you take care of your people, but don't go overboard.
Right.
Food is a killer. Like, you know, I started getting into like, you know, my sister hadn't been on any sets and she's like, well, I don't think people want pizza. Like, Diane,
it's expensive.
I'm like, Diane, like I've been on a set before where there was 1 pizza for like 15 people. Okay. Like these people have been on sets where there was nothing, you know, I'm like, I've been on sets with these people. Like Alice and I, when we did Backwoods Bubba, there was no toilet. The guy was like, oh, I was supposed to have a porta potty. He didn't care. He has a cast full of women in these little skimpy outfits. Well, Alice and I, everybody else had like a skirt outfit. Alice and I had little jumpers. So we had to go behind this cabin and have somebody like hold something up. So we had to totally strip down to pee. You know, like that's just, my God. Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
That's fucking nuts, man.
Right, yeah. Right. So I'm like, Diane, Alice doesn't care if we have pizza for lunch. Trust me. Like,
yeah, she's been in the trenches.
Right, exactly. So
that is the trenches.
Oh, but that was the trenches. It was fun, but it was the trenches for sure. Man. But yeah, just take care of your people. So And
That's like the Napoleonic approach. It's like you're running an army and the army marches on its stomach.
There you go.
But it's just basic human fucking law. If you're gonna do it, take care of your people. Like, everybody knows that it takes money to take care of people, with like you said, the menu, the flights, the this, that, and the other. But you have to expect that. You have to condition yourself to be like, okay, I know when I'm gonna make a movie, this is what to expect, because
right.
It's not your first rodeo. It's just not.
No,
and if it is, you're gonna learn real quick.
And you can see it in my crowdfunding. That was one of the things when I started crowdfunding for this. I'm like, I want to make it specific. I want to not just throw out t-shirts and stuff, because that's like the worst thing you can do. Sending stuff out, like you said, my kitchen table was a mess. I mean, I was at the post office with huge boxes every day. It was a pain in the ass. But I'm like, one of the perks that I have is sponsor a meal. Like, it costs a lot of money to feed us.
Oh, that's fucking fantastic.
So one of my perks is pay $100. That's not going to pay for everything, but pay $100. And if you're here, fine, you can come eat with us. Or if you're not here, we'll FaceTime you while we eat a meal. You can sponsor the meal, whatever. And you're doing something specifically for us. And so I've tried to do things like that for my crowdfunding. Providing people with more experiential things as opposed to tangible things, because then you don't have to ship them out and they get to be involved. And some people just kind of come up with glitz and glamour, but I really just wanted to make sure that that what I did was just getting people involved, getting them to be part of the movie. Like my composer, Mike Treblecock, he's on his like 5th movie composing that I'm in. But I worked with him to do a perk where he's going to work with somebody to write a song about them. That's just
he is amazing. I talked to him. Awesome. He is amazing.
He's so awesome. So, just ways for people to get involved without being like, I'm going to shoehorn you in on a poster or something,
Right.
Yeah. And even when they do that, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those, I guess it's just human nature. Like, you want to put money towards something that you're going to get something for, but I've gotten to the point now where let's take it, for instance, I was a manager at GameStop for 12 years. And, as these special edition games came out, you always got like a keychain, a t-shirt, this, that, the other. And I'm like, I really don't give a shit about that. Give me more in the game. Give me, all that. I don't, what am I going to do? Yeah, I'm going to wear a t-shirt, but what am I going to do with a statue? It's going to sit somewhere and never be seen. A poster, obviously I take pride in my posters, but, but there might be a poster that I'm like, I may not display it. And it's like, but something like that, like a buy a meal, that's to me, that's more important than anything, because again, like you said, this isn't, it's nothing supplied. And if it is supplied, it's coming from your own pocket. So, I
feel like I should have done that. Here I am waiting on a Blu-ray.
Fuck you, Clint. Shut up.
Well, but you want a Blu-ray too. And that's another thing that I will suggest for people who are crowdfunding. It's getting really hard. I don't know. Crowdfunding is going to go away very soon. I have a feeling. I said that a year ago.
You're probably right.
And that was why I was like, I'm going to do this one differently. But I don't do bundles. If you want a Blu-ray, you get a Blu-ray. And then if you want to get a poster, then you donate again to get a poster. You want this or that, because once you start getting into these bundle things,
you lose money.
And it gets really murky. People are like, well, I did this bundle and this bundle. So now you got to figure out, okay, so that means they get 3 Blu-rays, a DVD, 2 posters, 3 buttons, blah, blah, blah. It just gets really murky, and it gives you more chance to piss somebody off, to not do what, they expect.
Or to screw yourself.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, and honestly, I mean,
don't allow overseas shipping.
Oh, that shit is expensive as fuck.
I lost my ass on about 4 orders that went overseas. I was like, okay.
And the bad thing is those 4 orders are, that's a dent in the armor. Like, it's not cheap.
Yeah. It's like, I actually lost a significant amount of money on those. And I'm like, I probably lost between the four of them. I probably lost $200.
That's a lot.
And that's a lot of money when you have when you're making a
Yes.
0 budget movie.
Yes, $200. Either way, I mean, $200 is $200 regardless. But the fact that there's, like you said, there's, it's no budget. That's, God, Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
lessons learned.
Lessons learned.
And now I can pass them on to all of you.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much.
So that you can make your own mistakes.
So you all can fuck yourselves
in a different way.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, Rebecca comes in here with advice. She just tells you, don't fuck up the way she did. Fuck up in new ways.
Yeah. Find new ways to make mistakes, kids.
So I have to bring it up because Clint knows, actually a lot of people on this podcast know, that one of my all-time favorite movies, without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm talking all-time favorites. Let me show you.
Okay. It's a visual, kids.
Yeah, well, one of them.
I mean,
I have shark corn cobs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You are a liar, sir, but I understand why you did it.
I'm not. Sharks of the Corn is just.
There are two camps for Sharks of the Corn, from my estimation.
And camp is the right word for it.
The one camp is people who absolutely cannot stand that movie, and then there are the people who are like, "What the fuck are you talking about? That is amazing." And Don spent a little too much time in that first camp I was talking about, and I continue to defend that movie on the opening scene alone.
The opening scene is okay.
That was fantastic.
As soon as she dies, I'm like,
you can shut it off at that point.
It's game over because I'm like, at that point, that's one of the only times you see a goddamn shark. And, I'm just like, I got to see Rebecca run around with her boobies out and her ass out. So you know what? I'm happy. I'm done. It's game over. I'm not going to get, because you don't get that for the rest of the fucking movie. So I'm like, all right, so.
But
no sharks.
Highlight the dialogue,
and it was great. It was awesome.
Awesome. That was incredible.
It was all ad libs
so much. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. So basically, what happened is I was down there to do a movie that Tim hasn't released yet, which is it was like a Jess Franco homage type movie. I was like, which is going to be fabulous when it comes out.
I'm interested now.
But he had just gotten, so what Ron Bonk's been doing at SRS is he comes up with kind of a concept. Like his last one, I think, was like Amityville. He's done, well, this one was sharks. So he kind of is like, I'm gonna release a series of shark movies. I'm gonna find directors that I know and trust. I'm gonna give them some money and give them a title, and then they can do whatever they want. And so he had just heard from Ron that he had been asked if he wanted to do something about corn sharks. And so he didn't really have a script. He had ideas, but he didn't really have a script. And I was coming down there to do that. And he's like, I got to get you in this movie. So do you want to do like the cold open, like Jaws? Like,
I know this story and it's fucking incredible. Again, right?
Yeah. So we didn't really have
right there.
So he had like different ideas. So he had just asked us. So the one thing that we kind of came up with together is I'm wearing like a million layers of clothing.
Okay. Was it hot as shit?
Like, man, this is taking
forever. It was actually really, really hot. But no, he wanted me to have like a bonnet and like, whatever. I'm like, no. Whoa. I'm going to wear all black and I'm going to wear thin things so that it looks like I'm normal until I start taking it off. And then you realize I've got like, I think I ended up with like 10 things on.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, it's like, oh, I'm going to take this off. I'm like, okay, cool. Right. Now there's an undershirt. I'm like,
there was like a tank top, a t-shirt, a bathing suit cover up, a bikini top, bikini bottom, and a cardigan.
The whole time I'm like, will you hurry up and show your titties? Hurry up, please. I'm like, I'm waiting for this. Like, you're just like, I'm just going to throw this here. Corncob guy, I'm gonna throw this here. I'm like, if I gotta wait much longer, I might turn this fucking movie off. And then there we go. And I'm like,
Corncob guy was awesome.
Corncob guy was great. And something that I always bring up, and Clint knows I bring it up. when that dude sits down and you hear that
The rip.
like nobody hears that really. But I watched the movie on my own, and because somebody recommended it, and I watched everything. I watched the entire movie, and I'm like, wow, this is insanity. And then we watched it, and nobody heard it, and I made sure. I was like, did anybody hear the noise that made when that corn cob went up that guy's ass? Did anybody hear that? It was like a vacuum, just gone. And everybody's like, oh my God, I didn't hear that. And I'm like, that's the shit you miss. But I mean,
yeah,
it's grown on me. I think I've seen the movie more times than anybody on the planet. I've seen it 4 times.
I've watched it all the way through once, and then I've watched my part with people a few times.
I watch your part and I'm like, bye. Like, it's game over. I'm like, why do I want to watch this now? Like, there's nobody else that I need to see in this movie.
I'm gonna watch it 3 more times just so Don
Shut up,
can't
Clint. No,
say that he's
You
the
want
only
to
one
hold
to
the
see it 4
record.
times.
You
Yeah,
need to hold the record, and I
we will
guarantee there are
contend for it.
people who have seen it more than that, because
I'm
you
sure
are
they
right.
have.
You are totally right that there are 2 camps, like people who are like, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen, and people who are like, this is absolutely fucking genius.
I'm
Either
like in
way-
between right now.
Either way, I don't care, because I had a great time doing my part.
Fuck yeah.
Everything was ad-libbed. He would just be like, Tim's like, okay, now he had this list of things I think that he had considered putting in the movie. He's like, okay, now you need to talk about his brother owns a paper, and he published pictures of Bigfoot. Go, and like, now we're gonna talk about aliens being involved. Now go, and like, so it was just fun. I think some of the stronger things that we did didn't end up in the movie because they didn't end up in the plot.
Oh,
Some of the
that's a
dumb things
shame.
we were talking about, but
There was a plot.
but
I'm just saying, like,
plot points.
all I know is I got to see you in the beginning with the boobies out, and I was like, you know what? If this is the whole movie, I'm golden. Like, she should die. When you're like, shark, you should just keep running. Like,
Yeah.
and then come back later, show your boobies again. I was gonna keep watching the movie. Like, at that point, like, just saying, like, but it wasn't. It was crazy because sharks are shark movies, and Clint knows, and I keep saying that but he knows me so well.
We watch any shark movie.
We did a Amityville hangout. That's our thing on Saturday night, and we did it specifically. All we talked about was shark movies. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And
you should be on Maddie's podcast. She does the shitty shark movie podcast.
I know. I'm
and
trying.
Tim and I did that show.
I'm trying. She's doing bathtub shark attacks, so I don't want to bother her too much.
She'd be thrilled to come on your show.
Well, she's scheduled. Trust me. She's I don't know. I got my list right here. She's coming on July 21st.
There we go.
So we got her on here. But you guys just, you indie guys, especially like the staples like you and Julie, Jen Nangle, who we had a really good, talk with. I mean, you guys are incredible. The fact that you guys are willing to come on our podcast and talk to us, and we're not going to end this yet because we're having too much fucking fun.
Because I've manipulated. Well, I monopolized. I've only had one of these. Okay.
Wow.
I monopolized the conversation. I'm not gonna.
No,
that's what you're here for.
And remember, I can pause the recording. We don't have to stop. We can pause the recording.
You want to pee? You want to get a drink?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not used to that. I'm not used to that.
Exactly.
To be honest with you.
So, but
we aim to please here.
It's it's just great to know that, especially like with you, like everything that you brought to the table, and just looking at your, the things that you have in the works, Slumber Party, Slaughter Party 2. I mean, you had a first one that was back in what, 2016?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't involved in the original one. I got hooked up with Dwayne Etheridge later, but then he did a director's cut because he wanted to kind of improve upon it, and he wanted to set it up for the sequel. So that was during the pandemic. He had me do a scene like I was a cam girl. And then I was supposed to actually go and reprise my role for part 2. And
you were Mindy.
yeah, that's my cam girl's name. So I was supposed to go reprise my role. And then it was like June and we got these travel restrictions. He lives in North Carolina. And like, I was going to have to drive around like,
Oh Lord.
3 states, right?
Yeah.
Like, cause they weren't allowing people in. So I ended up in another cameo, I guess. But he's a really cool filmmaker out of North Carolina. And he just had a heart transplant.
Oh my
And
God.
Holy shit.
got out of the hospital. Yeah, he's almost died a few times. He's lost like 100 pounds in the last year.
Ooh.
God damn.
But he has come back full force and he's editing Slaughter Party 2. And
That is
he
amazing.
is definitely, he is a warrior. He's
Shout
awesome.
out to that man.
Yeah, he's unstoppable.
No doubt.
Yeah, you could get me another one, babe.
Oh, look out. I love it. I love it. So you can give me another one.
Yeah.
So Clint, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
I know there's a character that she plays, and I'm looking at and what's great, I got the IMDb here. Sorry, I know I'm a pussy and I look at the IMDb but I did listen to all your other interviews, so I did my homework, and you already said that.
Oh yeah,
But
I feel like you're almost stalker level. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I am. I got 1, 2, 3. I got 3 times when she played a doctor.
Bubenstein.
To talk about Dr. Bubenstein.
Yes.
So yeah, I recently watched Fright Vision, and Dr. Bubenstein tied together all the stories, which I thought was a pretty cool idea.
So again, Dr. Bubenstein actually got more work than I did during the pandemic. So the way that came about, this is before I did any movies. I had met somebody in Cinema Wasteland actually in 2019. I don't know. Yeah, before the world shut down, whatever. Like it's just we have that like year and a half bubble where it's
terrible
pre and post. And he had just come back from LA and he wanted to like do some stuff. He's like, he was kind of wanting to do like a horror host thing. And so I go all out, right? I can't just do a little something. So we did this whole Thanksgiving thing. And I'm like, I'm going to come up with this character, and I'm going to like come up with this whole idea of like her whole backstory again, just like the Not Quite Final Girl. Mm-hmm. And so I came up with this Dr. Bubenstein. She lives in Kentucky. She is a professor at Transylvania University. She is a professor of mathematics. She is not a mad scientist. She is actually a doctor. She has a PhD, motherfuckers. So she has this weird accent that's like totally nondescript, like Eastern European and Kentucky. And that's the whole thing. She doesn't have like, she's a doctor, but not like doctor, like mad scientist doctor. She's actually, so I pulled for some of my own things. And so I did this whole interview as her, like I was interviewing she was interviewing to do this horror host thing. And I had my daughter ask me questions. I'm like, just ask me questions like you would in a job interview,
Mm-hmm.
So I did this whole interview as her, and it was actually, I think it's still on my YouTube channel. It was actually really.
I'm gonna hunt that shit down.
I watched it.
Did you really?
It was so fun, and like we all just like both of us. Oh yeah, no, you're fine. Sorry, I'm getting notes too.
No, getting notes like.
No, you're ad-libbing.
Tell him he can. Yeah. Fuck yeah! Put your headset on and come on.
Yeah, he's gonna go play the drums. So you wouldn't know if he played the drums, would it interfere? He's gonna be at the other. He's gonna be in the West Wing of
if
my.
If he interfered, I would
mansion.
not give a shit. I've watched. He was on one of your interviews, and he was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But no. Yeah. So anyway, the Dr. Bubenstein interview thing, it was cracking me up. I'm like, I was saying stuff, and my kid was like just over there going. So I knew it was good because it takes a lot to make my kid just totally crack.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, so then then it was like, okay, so Brad Twigg, who I'd worked with on Shriek Show, and I did another thing with him that hasn't come out yet. He was like, well, crap, I have this anthology that I wanted to do. I had done this one called Faces of the Dead, with Will Colazzo.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and he had the same predicament. He's like, I need a wraparound, but now we're in a pandemic. and I see you do this horror hostess thing. Does she want to do them? So, I did that. And then Brad's like, well, I'm in a conundrum. I got this anthology. I need a wraparound. Would Dr. Bubenstein want to do the wraparound for this? So the thing that was really fun about Fright Vision was he just gave me the movies, and I developed the dialogue and everything in between. So I'm sorry, she did. She's her own entity.
Oh yeah.
But
she is.
It's just a chance for me to like just be my stupid self, And it's fun to just be somebody else. Like I don't do well. Like in Sister Krampus, I was supposed to be the evil nun, and then the girl who plays the evil nun, Danielle Donahue, she's always like the sweet normal girl and everything. She's like, oh, Mark, I want to be the nun. Can I be the nun? And Mark's like, would you want to be like the normal girl? And I'm like,
no.
It was the hardest thing in the world, just to be the normal chick. I mean, I like being like somebody else or something else. So yeah, Dr. Bubenstein is my way to cut loose. So she's been a little dormant lately, but I think she's got a little sci-fi web series that she does every once in a while. I think she's coming back to that.
That was Clint's thing.
Oh yeah, I love sci-fi. But I was thinking, you could bring Dr. Bubenstein back. I mean, with one of these like crowd fundraising things, like an Indiegogo, you could offer that like as a perk, like a private video message from Dr. Bubenstein, doing like I don't know, maybe dirty talk, like hilariously explained. You know what I mean? It's like, because that was my favorite thing about that interview was her like just riffing and saying something completely ridiculous to describe something normal. And I don't know, that might be worth something. I'd give you $50 for that.
Hey.
I don't have enough money.
Well, I will say that this is another thing, another funny story during the embalmers, because things slowed down during fundraising. Indiegogo was going blah, but my OnlyFans was going woo. So I'm like, okay. So
I wasn't gonna bring it up unless you did.
So April and May, I was like, screw it. I mean, come on, let's face it. Whatever dollars I made anyway was going to go towards the movie. But I framed it like, whatever money I make from OnlyFans in April and May, that goes directly towards my movie. So you can have immediate gratification, get some entertainment, and support the arts. So I made a pretty decent amount of money. I'm all about creative fundraising. So I might do a little something with your Bubenstein.
I'm not going to say that I didn't contribute to that. I'm not going to say it.
Hey, it worked. I didn't care.
Sharks of the Corn hit me in a special spot.
Oh.
So I was like, okay.
It was the accent. I know it. My natural shit kicker accent.
which is great.
Yeah. And the bangs. I think Don's got a thing for bangs.
Yeah, that's it without a doubt. So looking at your things that are coming up, sorry again, I'm on IMDb, so I'm pussing out. Dwayne Etheridge, you have a lot of collaborations with him coming up.
Yep. So he's the one I was talking about.
Yep.
Who had the heart transplant. So a lot of his things kind of went on hold for a very good reason.
Right.
There for a couple months, none of us heard from him, and everybody was
that's
like,
fucking scary. That's terrifying.
And I mean, he was gonna die if he didn't get a transplant, and he went in to get the tests or whatever. And they got him on the transplant list, and he had a heart within like 2 weeks, which was amazing.
Holy shit, no
doubt.
That's awesome. No, that doesn't happen. That's insanity.
So I mean, yeah, so he's kind of like coming back, like I got my second lease on life, I'm
that's so
whatever.
Man,
so
that's so great. And he doesn't listen to our podcast. Maybe one day he will, but just know
you should hit him up.
I might. And that's fucking amazing, man. That's that's get a new lease on life and keep doing what you love doing, man. Do it.
So yeah, I think we still have a few things, like I think there was a zombie movie that I'm supposed to do.
Day of the Undead.
Yep.
I got you.
But yeah,
I want to see this one right here. The true tale of old Splitfoot versus the lesbian warrior nuns of the Great White North.
Okay. story with this one.
Fuck yeah, story time.
Story time. Okay, this movie. So Ash Hamilton is the writer and producer, director of this movie. And he had sent me something. He's like, I have this script. I want you to read it and tell me if something jumps out at you or whatever. So I'm reading this. Well, first of all, I'm intrigued by the title.
Fuck yeah. Without
and
a
then
doubt. Without a doubt.
Samantha Marie did this awesome poster. You know, it's got this whole like, you know, grindhouse like looking thing with a nun and, you know, like it was super awesome.
I'm looking at it.
Yes. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll read it. So I start reading it and I'm only like 10 pages in and I'm like, can I audition for Nat? He's like, that's what I wanted you to say. So Nat is of the strippers. Okay. Cause that's the thing. They're lesbian nun strippers.
Wow.
Who are defending the world without anybody knowing. So Nat is, kind of the eldest of them all. She's sort of the mentor, kind of salt of the earth, and it takes place in Canada, so obviously by the title. But I'm like, I see her Southern, and like, there's a lot of things in the script to say like she learned how to do a trick in Tijuana, blah blah blah. I'm like, it's not, you know, like, could I play her Southern? Like, would you guys be okay with that? You know, I'm like, she's obviously been around the world, so she doesn't have to be Canadian, right? I don't have to go, boot, you know, or whatever. They're like, just do it. And so I did this audition for them and I had so much fun with it. And I was just like scratching my crotch, drinking a Bloody Mary and you know, just this total white trash thing. And like, I sent it to them and they like called me 5 minutes later. They're like, yeah, you got to do this. Like, right. Like we didn't see the character like this, but yeah, you're going to do it, you know? And so it's all like, woo, yeah, cool. You know? And, but then, a director got involved in it, who is like a higher echelon director. And then he started casting, like Robert Lasardo got cast, Bai Ling, Ron Jeremy, which we do not speak of that. But it got into a huge budget. It got into like more in the $350,000 range.
Holy shit.
And so they started pitching it because crowdfunding was not going to do it. And so they started pitching it and they had a couple investors interested. And then on Netflix, which this didn't even go over well, there was a series that came out called The Warrior Nun. The chick was a lesbian.
Yep. I was going to bring that up and say, what was the fucking difference there?
Well, the difference was that someone leaked. Someone leaked it. Someone saw the poster, someone thought it was a good idea, probably got the script from somebody and leaked the damn thing.
That's fucking stupid.
So the investors were like, hey, we can't invest in this copycat thing. Well, that show I think didn't even last for a season.
No, it got
whatever.
Canceled.
You know, and so you know, we got put on hold, but Ben Harl's the other guy, but Ash Hamilton, they're like, we're gonna get this movie made. Well, over the last year, they did make a movie that has gotten a lot of acclaim, and it's gotten awards on the film festival circuit, and it's gotten the attention of a lot of people, and has made them a little bit of money. It's made them a little bit of split foot money. So we're paring it back down. You know, it's going to be more of that $20,000-$30,000 movie that it probably should have been to start out with. And yeah, it's probably going to be completely recast except for me. And probably a couple other people.
But your girl's in it. As crazy, is she still there?
Julie, I doubt it. Julie's really taken a step back from acting. She's been not dealing with, but she's been trying to live her life.
Yeah.
Her personal life, and trying to branch out more into producing and writing too.
Gotcha.
So,
good for her.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
absolutely.
So I doubt that she'll be in it. I mean, I don't know. She might, but yeah. So it's. I mean, the script is freaking hilarious and just fucking bonkers.
It looks amazing. And the sad thing is it got fucking delayed because some asshole decided to take the Netflix, and then guess what? It didn't work out. It's like, did you really have to do that? Did you have to screw?
And they made it all dark and serious.
No.
Like,
If a warrior lesbian nun, that is Jesus fucking Christ. That is the most.
That's oddly specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention that shouldn't even be a fucking serious.
And like I said, I had read that script a year before. So it was not, I mean, it was one of those things, they hadn't announced it or anything. It was just like, oh, coming next week on Netflix.
Oh, that was
my first experience with be careful who you let read your script.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or tell your ideas to.
So I'm looking
that reminds me of going back when we talked to Patricia Tallman, and she said about leaving the Babylon 5 script somewhere, and then they came out with a show that was like almost identical. What was it? Was it Deep Space Nine? I don't remember which show it was. It probably was
something like that. I mean, the bad thing about those, they all
happens at all levels, I guess.
It does.
It sucks because it's like, there's, and I think it's almost like I don't know how big in the video games you are, Rebecca, but like, it just feels like everybody steals an idea from everybody at some point. But,
yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between homage and thievery, and some people just try to like really skirt it a little bit too much.
That's why I like this right behind me, because that is original as original gets. Both of them, Sharks of the Corn and Bombers.
And that's the other thing too. I won't do something that I don't want to watch. When Tim's like, do you want to do this corn sharks thing? I'm going to have you run around and like strip in the cornfield and get eaten by a shark. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I want to see that. I want to see corn sharks, I'm not going to do stuff that I think is like completely derivative.
I want to see Bloody Hooker Massacre. That's what I'm waiting on.
And that one. Oh, no, that's still going on. Oh, that one is funny because he kind of gave me first dibs at a role. And I read the script and I'm like, can I be like there's a police psychologist.
Dr. Emerson.
Yeah. And I'm like, can I be the police psychologist? And he's like,
I fucking love how she says, she's like, I get first dibs and you should.
Well, I'm just like, I'm always the hoe.
Can I be the police detective?
Can I be the police detective?
I'm a highly educated, like I have a master's degree in technology. I like spend my days like, running networks and,
I fucking love it.
Knee deep in like TLS algorithms the last 2 days.
Love it.
I have a brain, but sometimes I like to like shut it off and be the hoe. But every once in a while, I'm like, can I be the doctor?
Look, I will tell you, listeners, if you got Plex, and what's funny, and I don't know if I should say this, but so I hit Brad up earlier because we were trying to make a video intro for our YouTube channel, and I'm getting kind of scenes from a lot of these indie films because I don't want to go through the copyright bullshit. So I hit Brad up and I said, hey man, can I use, because he directed Shriek Show. So I was like, hey, can I use some scenes from Shriek Show? And he told me, he's like, well, where did you see it at? I was like, I saw it on Plex. And he said, really? He said, because they fucked up the version that they put on there. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, the music is not in sync. I was like, well, you could have fucking fooled me because I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, I guess there was something wrong in the intro and like some things wrong with the music, and they wouldn't fix it.
I loved it, man. I'm telling you, I love that movie. And, it's just great. Everybody was good in it. I hit Lion up. Lion's probably going to be on in the group. I don't know if see, that's the thing is like with an anthology, I don't know how much you see of the other actors. So.
And you don't really like, I mean, with that one, like Julie, Jimmy Flame, Max Morrison, we're about the only ones. And we were there to do, which I want this to come out. We did this short for an anthology that hasn't come out yet, that it was the four of us. It was Julie, Max Morrison, Jimmy Flame, and myself, and Daniel Brooks. And
Daniel Brooks is awesome.
It's like a little sci-fi thing where Jimmy and I find this meteor the lands in the woods that's like covered in slime and everything. And I get what we call space aids because we're stupid. And he's like, don't touch that. You're going to get space aids.
Space aids.
So, and I'm like, oh, you pussy, whatever. So then there's a little scene where we're in the tent and I'm sitting there and I'm kind of like, I've been alienized or whatever, but I'm just kind of sitting there. And we've got like that flarp crap, just that slimy, gross stuff.
Okay.
We've got like a bowl of it between my legs, right?
Nickelodeon Gek.
Yes. We've got like a bowl of it between my legs. And like, he's like all trying to like make out on me, whatever. And like, I'm just sitting there and he like puts his hand down on that bowl and he goes, oh my God, she's got space aids. And his hand is just like,
I need, man, I hope this is coming out because if it's
I do too. It's so
I'm going to be
fun.
really pissed off now.
And I end up killing people and I'm supposed to be all bloody. And we had this tent and the tent was full of blood. And so I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm not going to waste good blood. So I just went in the tent and I'm like making blood angels and just got myself totally soaked head to toe. Yeah, totally fun. So
what is this movie here? I have to ask about this one. Is this Sharkago?
Yeah, okay. It's like Chicago.
Okay,
Sharkago.
Okay, good.
Chicago. Yeah, so Christopher Kaler, this is his passion project that he's been dying to do for a couple years now.
Is it a musical?
No. It's actually based in a small amount of science that he lives in Chicago, and there is a small amount of science that there are a few sharks in Lake Michigan.
This is true.
And so that is kind of where it's coming from. So, and he wants to kind of make a shark movie that's a little more intelligent, but still kind of dippy. So he's still working on it, but yeah, I still have my little place bookmarked in there.
I am in 100%. All you have to do is say shark something. I'm in. Amityville Shark House. I'm in. Oh man, I'm in.
Share a link with the Indiegogo. We'll throw in for it.
Yep. It's 6:20 and we're having a great time. So
yeah, I feel like we're going long. So I did want to make sure that we talked as much as we should about Tin Roof. And your current project for that,
because I've totally like glossed over the movie I'm trying to promote and raise money for.
Right. That's my focus right now. I mean, I knew you were doing it. I shared the GoFundMe and participated, encourage other people to do so. But I'm excited about it. So
so the story behind Tin Roof is so the Embalmers, I told you the Embalmers wasn't really my story. That's not my genre. Like, I mean, anything I wanted to do that was kind of like Date Night was like mine and Rob Mello's idea. And that was about as far as my sister would let us go. We had a lot of other ideas that just got vetoed as far as the script goes. But so we had just wrapped on the Embalmers, like literally an hour before we get back to my house. We're drinking. It's Julie and Rob and me. And we're just like, woo, we're done. And like I'm, 3 sheets to the wind. And Rob goes, okay, so boss lady, what's next? I'm like, I'm going to edit this motherfucker. He's like, no, what do you want to do next? And I was like, well, I hadn't thought about it. And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a movie that I get to pick, that's my thing. I'm doing a goddamn camp slasher. I'm sorry. That's like my passion. I will watch the shittiest, like just the absolute piss poorest fucking 1980s camp slasher before I'll ever watch fucking Titanic. I'll tell you that.
I will second that. Clint, you can third it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, but if I'm going to do a camp slasher, I don't want to see like kids on spring break going on vacation on their daddy's dime, trying to get laid, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm older now. Like I still, I want to see people like me in those camp slashers. And in my exact words were, I want people with mortgages, beer bellies, kids, and problems. So I have one other provisor that I can't say because it's a little bit of a spoiler. Okay. And he goes, I'm going to write it. I'm like, cool. a couple of days later, he's like, what was that idea that you had when we were drunk? Like, I don't remember. I'm like, but I tell you what, I'm going to remember at 2 a.m.
Which you did.
For some reason, I always remember things at 2 a.m. I'll wake up and I just grab my phone and I'm like, oh, hey, wait, this was it, right? So Rob ended up coming up. I sat on one end of the table editing the embalmers. He sat on the other end of the table writing Tin Roof. And he's really big into character development, and I'm really big into slashers and gore. And so we just, we came up with some really organic stuff. We have really good dialogue. It's a good dialogue to me and him because it's really our dialogue. Like, so it'll
be good. It'll be good to us.
It's the way we talk. Yeah, there's a very sassy, foul-mouthed woman named Becca in it, and there are no similarities whatsoever.
Weird.
Yeah. But
who's played by Ray Hunt?
Ray Hunt, yes. So so we wrote it, and his thing is he has like a million screenplays, a million ideas, and he never sees them through. And I'm a taskmaster. I get shit done. And he does too in a different way. That's our motto, by the way. We always say we get shit done.
Get shit done.
Yeah. Like if things seem like insurmountable or like, the other day we had a kid puke on the floor and it was Monday. God. It was Monday morning and I'm trying to get out of the house and he's cleaning puke or whatever. It's like, get shit done. We get shit done.
Get shit done.
Oh. So yeah, we're just like willing it into existence. We have a really awesome cast. We have a lot of return crew.
You have a stupid good cast. You have Heather Harlow. One person that I think is kind of special to you is Johnny Shandor.
Johnny Shandor, the Scream Queen. I can't even say now. I used to say everybody watch out for her because she is going to make waves. Johnny Shandor she's there.
Yeah.
The pandemic, she lived her best life during the pandemic. She sat there and did online classes on how to do self-tape auditions, how to write screenplays, how to do storyboards, how to all these different things. Like she has just grown totally.
Marlene has sent me a lot of things.
Oh,
Marcella, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
And her sister too. Her sister's incredible too.
And I have to say that her children, so Marcella Shandor is like the mom that I want.
She's amazing.
Because her older daughter is an MMA fighter.
Uh-huh.
And when she was 5, she was in the hospital, like she had her tonsils out or something. She was like all loopy from medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the nurses like were trying to like do an IV or something. She like punched one of them and the nurse goes, oh, your daddy taught you how to fight. She goes, no. My mommy did, and like, so Marcella fostered her, through, all of the stuff to become like an MMA fighter. And she's doing the same with Johnny.
Amazing. She is a fucking incredible cosplayer. She is insane. She just got back from a convention and man, she killed it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
But Johnny just got chosen to be a Fangoria influencer.
Yes. I'm so jealous. She got a beanie. She got a shirt. I'm like, Marcella, can you put in a good word for Amityville? I just want to shirt for
they hit her up. They actually,
right.
They contacted her.
Yeah.
So she's getting a lot of, recognition. She's just awesome. I mean,
she's great. She's amazing.
She's definitely one of the incredible high points of the Embalmers. And speaking of cosplayers, I mean, she does her own cosplays and she wears them in the Embalmers. She's met Alice Cooper in her cosplay and like met him again and he remembered her because
that's awesome.
How many times you get a 9-year-old girl who's dressed up like you, like glam rock or whatever. So yeah, it's she's just, I can't say enough good stuff about her and her family.
She's awesome.
And Alen Udy. So when I knew I did something right on the Embalmers, because Alen, she hit us up for the Embalmers, and Diane was a huge Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman fan. Now I'm like more like, oh, My Bloody Valentine, or actually the movie I geeked out with her about. She's like, "Oh my God, you saw that? Pinball Summer."
Oh shit.
Yes.
Oh.
She's like, "Oh my God, no one ever mentions that one." But whenever we were casting for Tin Roof, she's like, "Oh, you guys have like a part that I could do?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like,
if I say
You're
no,
like,
I'm gonna be like an asshole.
What kind of question is that?
oh
Of
no,
course.
like we didn't tell her, but like the character that she ends up playing, and she
okay.
auditioned for her, but the character she ended up playing, we actually kind of had her in mind when we were writing it.
That's awesome.
So, you know, we're like, maybe Len will do this. I don't know if she'll come back out to Indiana. Who knows? But
you got your wish. That's great.
so yeah, we've got a great cast, great crew. A lot of the same crew coming back for Tin Roof. Jocelyn, the PA that I was talking about, she's running shit for me. Rob is my assistant director, and actor wrangler, which is something I desperately needed. And that was the thing. Like Rob in interviews, if you ever listen, it sounds like he's just like he talks me up way too much. But
because you're amazing. What people should talk you up.
The reality of it is that he saw on set, he saw this one person doing all of this stuff, and he was like, "Man, she's got it, but she needs help. Like she needs assistant director. She needs all this other stuff. Like she's got the." And I'm like, okay, if you frame it like that, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Don't make it sound like I'm the greatest thing in the world. But yeah, if you frame it like that, like if she had the resources that she needed, she could really do something great. And now that I'm telling the story I want to tell with lots of blood and all kinds of good stuff. So Joe Castro on effects.
If you weren't busy this weekend, because I know you are, because you're a huge celebrity, and you are, we have the perfect Amityville hangout.
I was going to mention that,
which is a Camp a Lot of Death. It's all it is camp slashers. That's all we're talking about. The best.
It's a YouTube discussion that we stream.
The best of the best, or the worst of the worst. Camp slashers.
When are you doing that?
That is on Saturday at 7:00. And again, I know you are busy as fuck, so I know you are not going to join.
But the invitation is open. If you'd like to come.
The invite.
Make sure you see the link.
I would love to. Although I will again monopolize the conversation, I'm sure.
I will. However, I can stretch the fucking screen. If I can stretch the screen so you can just take up 95% of it, and then all the other guests are here, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
And if I have to say to those of you, if I have to say to those of you who do like camp slashers, since we're still talking about Tin Roof, my inspirations and the things that I told my cast to watch, definitely Sleepaway Camp 2, just because I love it. And I've got a couple like little nods that no one's going to get except for
hold on. Let us try to guess.
Okay. So you've already heard like my, what I like and my kind of provisos.
All right, Clint, you should throw a camp slasher out there. See if it's part of it. See if we can guess what her inspirations are.
Right.
I can already throw out like 4. So.
Okay. Well, you would almost have to have a Friday the 13th element, but that one's almost a little too easy to throw out. We're probably going a little bit more obscure.
Yeah. So Friday the 13th part 2 specifically, I said that was another thing that I said. I'm like, there has to be a shanty. Mm-hmm. There will be a shanty like Jason's lovely little shanty. I am going to design it, whatever. And that's actually where the tin roof comes from. This is the shanty with the tin roof.
Yes, it's going to be so awesome.
Which we're doing in my backyard, which my neighbors are going to love.
Turn your fucking music down.
And you mentioned Sleepaway Camp 2. There's not going to be like an outhouse thing there, is there?
No. And in fact, with Sleepaway Camp, it's so goofy. I threw in a couple like little lines that only like certain people will get, like nothing huge, but I'm like, even though a cast doesn't really get it, but I'm like, okay, this is how you deliver this line. Okay. So that if somebody's like me, they're going to get it.
I'd be worried there for a second.
The whole thing I'm thinking is like, the burning, that's got to have some kind of inspiration. Madman, that's got to have some kind of inspiration. What else is there?
So Burning and Madman, probably not overtly, but yes, definitely
Subliminally, just
like,
undertone.
yeah, like those are two of my favorites. But the ones as far as I won't say tone, but kind of maturity, let's put it that way, are Just Before Dawn and The Final Terror.
Oh my God. I don't even know how I didn't think of those. And I've seen fucking
Just
both
Before
of
Dawn.
them.
I have seen that.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't really talk about them. They're not as slick as some of these other ones. And the people are older. And the people are where they're supposed to be. And Just Before Dawn, the guy owns the land, and he's been out there a million times. He's inherited this land, and he's taking his friends out there. They're supposed to be there. Final Terror, they're like rangers. They're supposed to be there.
Be there, yeah.
Yeah. And so, and they're older, they have jobs, they're like, and so those are the kinds of things, like I wanted that kind of level of maturity where you were like, you felt fear for them. Right. Because they weren't putting themselves necessarily in harm's way.
Harm's way. They were supposed to be there.
Yeah, this is a comfortable place, and they weren't just there just to go get drunk and everything else. Right. It's like they were there to like enjoy themselves and basically have a vacation. Or the other people in Final Terror, they're there to do their job.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just Before Dawn was interesting. To me, it was almost like Deliverance, but without the rafting.
Without the
with a rope bridge.
With the rope bridge, exactly. Yep. Exactly.
And that movie, if you watch it, it has to me in my mind, I guess, like my mind's eye, there's not a lot of similarity, but I always think of like I Spit on Your Grave, the original in that movie, because there's like it's the way it's shot, the way you feel like you're watching something that you're not supposed to be seeing, like you're kind of like in the shrubs, like going, holy crap, shit, but I can't do anything to help. Yep. The fact that there's not a lot of music, that it's more just the noises of the forest and the quiet. It's unnerving.
It's eerie. Yeah, exactly.
It's unnerving if you're in that situation. Like if you found that waterfall and you were like swimming around, I mean, I'd be like, I mean, fuck. Right. But since you're watching a movie and you look like the peeping Tom, you're like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Yep. Exactly.
I just like that feel of unease. And the other thing that I like too about Just Before Dawn, I guess, is a little bit of, I'm not a spoiler for
I will be right back. I'm sorry. My wife is having an emergency. So I will be right back. Clint, you keep doing your thing, baby.
I'm here for you.
All right, brother.
One of the things that I like about Just Before Dawn is that it pretty much takes place during the day. I mean, it's just before dawn. Yes, there's night, and they do some really not great day for night photography, like a lot of movies back then did. Like, hey, if we make it blue, it's like the Mystery Science Theater 3000, like theory of filmmaking. Hey, it's blue, it's night,
Right.
But
add some cricket sounds in.
Right, exactly. And just avoid the sun. Just tilt the camera down so we don't see the big orb in the sky and everything's okay. But a lot of it takes place during the day. And I think I mean, everybody equates the night with danger.
Right.
But then when would you not expect things to happen? You don't expect things to happen in the daytime. Right. Aside from the fact that we're filming at different locations, like Airbnbs and that type of stuff in the middle of summer in Indiana, where it doesn't get dark till like 10:30. So it works out quite nicely.
Yeah. And it worked really well in that movie, since we're talking about it, where the day shooting, some of the most terrifying things that happened during that film was all around that little abandoned building that people kept walking into. Yeah.
With Mel from Sleepaway Camp. It took me forever to realize that was who that was. I'm like, oh my God, I know him.
Yep. Small world.
Shallow gene pool.
Shallow gene pool. Yeah. Another movie from that general time period that I kind of like. It's not really a camp slasher. It's more in the sci-fi end of things. If you've ever seen it, was Without Warning.
I have not seen that one.
Okay.
Or if I have, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, you had a couple of names in there that are recognizable, like Jack Palance and Martin Landau. and then a very young David Caruso's in there. So it's, yeah,
a little ginger,
yeah, it was
a little
it
ginger
was
baby.
basically an alien invasion film, and let's see, the creature was played by Jesus, what's his name? Kevin Peter Hall.
He does all the creatures. He does Predator. He does
Harry and Henderson's. Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Anyhow, so
But
cool choice, because that was actually on my list to bring up at the hangout, and I wasn't expecting you to say that.
you're like, again, steal my thunder, bitch.
Yeah, that's twice, bitch. If she shows up on Saturday, we're fucked. Like we're done. It's game
serious
over.
Diving to try to find something to talk about.
I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna mute my ass, and it's my show. I'm gonna mute your ass because she's gonna blow us away. Like,
no, we'll just talk about the same stuff, but no. But anyway, so Tin Roof, yes, it's my modern twist on the camp slasher. I was told by someone, oh, slashers don't sell anymore, and I'm like, I don't give a flying
Get the
fuck.
fuck out of
What are
here.
they talking about?
I don't
Did
care.
nobody watch Scream?
Because I think your plan is going to work in the sense that you're basically appealing to our demographic.
Right.
It's we're the people who are going to appreciate that. We're the
I
ones
love
who are gonna
camp
watch
slashers.
that.
I fucking love that. It's a genre that's.
I don't care if young people want to see that or not.
Fuck them young people.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Fuck them young people. I'm 38 years old. I want to see some camp slashers. I don't give a fuck what you want to see.
Yeah. I want to see something, and this is one of the things I love about low budget movies, is that I want to see something where I feel like the people really could be in danger. Like, I mean, when you're watching Nev Campbell, you're like, yeah, no, she's going back to her trailer, getting,
Damn it.
and
I said Scream, and now she's like,
well, that's why I said
shit.
her.
She squashed that. Nev Campbell's not dying.
But it's hard to really feel any kind of terror for those people. And you've got these characters who've been so established.
Right.
That you're like, okay, they're going to kill one of them.
Yeah.
Whoever decided they just don't want to do it anymore.
Is done.
It's never like a, wow. I mean, is everybody going to die? Is nobody going to die? Because,
Well, The Walking Dead did that. That was just one of those things that it's one of those series that, you became invested in characters. Everybody always said, if Daryl Norman Reedus dies, we're going to fucking riot.
Whatever.
It's like, whatever. Yeah. Who cares?
I mean, Game of Thrones.
Oh, Jesus. Boy. Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
Yes.
You were a Game of Thrones fan until the last episode, weren't you?
No, I liked the way it ended.
Oh my God.
I was fine with it.
We're going to go off mic.
No,
we're not. No, it wasn't bad. The only thing I didn't like was how fuck that. I'm not talking about that shit. We got to talk about you.
Yeah. Well, we got to get off here. It's been a long time. So
we have kept you long enough.
We have. She's got to pee.
So
edit that out. We're good.
You can find us on Facebook at Tin Roof Movie. We're also on Instagram, same moniker. We also are on Indiegogo. Search for Tin Roof. We're the only ones you're going to find. We do have some really cool perks. Like I mentioned before, we also just have something called Blood Donor. If you want to give us $10, man, like we'll put your name in the end of the credits as a blood donor, and you can know that you supported the arts.
Absolutely. That's a small price to pay. $10 to make something happen.
$10,
Absolutely. And we'll post that on the group too.
And I will definitely contribute tonight.
Cool.
So we thank you very much for showing up tonight and having this wonderful conversation with us. I apologize. We kept you.
Yeah, we kept you.
So long.
We're so sorry. So sorry.
But
I'm all right.
Hopefully it's a better ending to the day that you had.
Yes, it made me forget. Thanks. Now you reminded
me.
Me.
Fuck you, Clint. Network administration. IT work sucks balls.
Nah, whatever. I'm going to shut this computer down, and I'm not going to look at another computer till tomorrow morning.
There you go.
Damn it. I'm going to get out my abacus.
Oh.
Going old school.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with this abacus.
I'm going to, you know what?
I'm going to smoke signals.
You know what I'm going to get at 2 a.m? I'm going to get a Texas Instruments message of her flipping it around. It says boobies.
Yeah. Hell. Yes.
Oh my God, my dear, you have been absolute. Not to take anything away from anybody else who've interviewed, you have been probably our funnest fucking interview.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks.
You have been amazing.
Mhm.
And we can't thank you
And
enough.
I
my
will
dear.
come back. I will come back Saturday.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes,
All right.
you're
Thanks,
amazing.
guys.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.